Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video, there's a lot going on. I'm going to start this entire thing by going back to a product that we took a look at in the past. Here I have the Apache 9800. This is a rifle and shotgun case that I've used for quite a while. And when you go back to my prior video, well, I set this thing up a very specific way for a very specific reason because, well, lo and behold, I wanted to maintain my shotgun and a rifle ready to go at all times in a strategic location, have everything in here just fully prepared. But the problem is, well, even though it's really cool and I love it, it's pick and pluck foam. And this thing's kind of set in its ways. It's really difficult to make changes, and that becomes problematic for a few reasons. The main thing being, well, if you make any changes to your firearm and you get to the point where you start to change things up, that foam is already picked and plucked, and it's very difficult to make changes to this particular system. So it's not ideal. But that's where this comes in. This is the Daka grid system, which started its life as a standalone Magpul case with the grid system in the Magpul case. But at this point, Magpul has adapted their Daka grid to other cases that are common on the market, including that Apache case. But for me today, the Plano Restrictor case, which this is not a perfect fit. I'm going to caveat this entire thing by saying it's not a perfect fit because my case is longer than the size of the organizer. And to date, at least at the time of my video, their system is shorter than what these cases are. They will be coming out with a long rifle case setup very soon, and I think there is a way that I can kind of expand upon this if I'm able to get an additional piece, but it's currently out of stock. So again, keep in mind the fact that this should be pretty good, but it's not going to be perfect. I'll show you what I'm talking about when we get into this. And so when we get back, we are going to look at this Magpul Daka grid in detail. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. So as we get started, keep in mind the fact that they have different sets for different cases. And you can see here, this specifically says the Plano 42-inch. Now, again, my case is longer than that, and you'll notice that this comes with 2 end blocks and then 2 center panels and then some spacers. And for me, what I really need, I think for the length of my case, is another one of those center panels, which you can get, but they seem to be out of stock at this time. And with this, I also have angled block kits. So I actually got a couple of the expansion kits. So the angled block kit, the block expansion kit, and then also some V-block kits to build this out. So you can see how all this comes together. So let's bust this out. We're gonna look through all of the components to the Daka system first. Then we'll break open my case, remove the foam, and get this thing outfit. So as we go through this right away, interesting that it comes packed up with this foam. This will go in the top of the case, so I might be able to utilize my restrictor foam, which might be better than this, so we'll set this aside. The grid panels themselves, which you can see, these are basically styrofoam, but they are flexible in the ability to clip them together, utilize them in different configurations, and then especially with the dividers, you can see here many dividers. These literally just clip together, so nice and durable, chamfered on all the edges. These, I'm sure, if you really worked at it, will break, but you'll hear some awesome stories from the people at Magpul that have absolutely tortured their cases with firearms in them with incredible results. So again, these are those mid panels. The end panels, which you can see are nicely finished off. And again, all of your standard dividers. So you can see this comes with a number of dividers right in the base kit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these sort of three-way blocks, and then 6 of the two-way blocks. Your instructions, so keep in mind, replace the foam in the bottom of the case with the supplied foam. So that's for the bottom of the case. That's what it's saying right away. And it is specifically saying the large piece of gray foam is part of the system, do not discard. And just quick little instructions, things to pay attention to. So pretty straightforward there. Recommended block arrangements to keep everything secure. Very nicely done. This here is a block expansion kit, so you can see more of the three-way and two-way blocks. We'll set that aside. But this one to me definitely has a lot of advantages. So the angled block kit, this really starts to get a little bit of variety in terms of your ability to get your handle and your the butt end nice and tight and at an angle and really pinch things down. I think these will work to my advantage. So we'll break these out. Which here you can see how these stack together. So I should be able to use these in various different ways and combinations. 2 sets. And some intermediate diagonals. And then here, the V-block kit. So the V-block kit is really used to, in essence, keep your barrel in place, which I thought, again, would be very useful. And depending on the configuration and what I'm trying to do, could really give me some flexibility and versatility with this kit. Which here, you can see shorter V-blocks and larger ones. So I got not only one of these sets, but 2, because to me, if I'm maintaining multiple firearms in my case, I want the ability to really spread things out and hold things securely so they don't move about. But now as you look at my restrictor case, this is longer than the kit that I got from Magpul. So there will be some considerations that I need to make. However, as we bust into this, we do have a few things going for us. Now this pick and pluck foam absolutely has to come out of here. So this I am going to store in a safe place. And to me, the benefit of this case is the actual restrictor panel in the bottom. And you can see this is really, really thick. So I don't know if I theoretically can still leverage this. I would love to. But I think what we're going to find is this ends up being sort of too deep for the case, and especially once we get things fit in here. One thing that I'm noticing right away that's a little bit funny is my particular case, as we take a look at it, well, it has nice large casters on the bottom, and you can see it has these huge wheel wells. So there is no accommodation for that in this particular piece of foam. And if I was to remove this altogether, and even if I put that other thin piece that came from Magpul, it just seems to me kind of funny that this is not going to be able to fit in there anyway. I think I'm probably trying to do something here that wasn't really intended. And you can see as I get my foam all the way to the right hand side of the case, there's all this space to the left. So again, this is me trying to make something work that wasn't intended for this particular case. And maybe it's just the fact that the smaller cases don't have the casters, and I'll probably find that that is true. So as we get this fit down and inside, I should be able to wedge this down nicely, which this does seem to go. But again, I am going to run into some trouble here where on the inside, you can see this does have some sort of bump outs here. And unfortunately, I think that's going to inhibit my ability to appropriately fit these panels inside. So if I space things out just a little bit different, this kind of sneaks in here, fits down inside. The intermediate pieces have these clearances cut in them. So these now go down and into place. And so I've decided I'm going to kind of blaze my own trail I'm going to cut my own little relief in here. So everything in yellow, I'm going to trim out. So I'm just going to get myself a nice clean knife, cut that out. And that should buy me the clearance I need for the caster end, which is exactly what I'm going to do, is run this end piece all the way down against the casters and bear it up against that. And that should give me a solid platform, yet buy me some clearance where I need it. Which now you can see this sits down nice and clean, nice and tidy, no problem, bearing nicely against the caster, so it's not like this thing's gonna slide around, and that will be just fine. I can put little pouches down here, little accessories, cleaning kits, things like that. That's actually gonna work out just fine and to my advantage by the end of this. So we're gonna make this whole thing work. So next, this piece here going in, but again, gonna have to buy myself a little bit of clearance. So if I space this out the right way, just rough fitting this, I know that's going to need to sit down right down here. So little paint marker here, just putting a daub of yellow paint as I take this and set it down and go to press this down into place. That's transferring that yellow paint marker right onto the foam, and that is the location that I need to cut out. And so now with some minor modifications, not a big deal, this is fitting in here absolutely perfect. I mean, I trimmed up a little bit of the foam here and there, but again, not a big deal. And I will just reiterate the point that now I have a little bit of storage space in the bottom for tools or some sort of a kit, and I also have space in the top, which might not be ideal, but I really don't think this is going to slide around much. And if I had to, I could certainly brace this out. But this leaves me with additional capacity for some other pieces of kit. And the fun comes where now I can really start to lay this out. Now you can see clearly I can hold a couple of, whether it's shotguns or a shotgun and a rifle. I mean, I can certainly lay this out in a bunch of different ways, and this will essentially be my home defense kit is what I'm really going for. So as we get into this, again, we have a number of different spacers and different ways that all of this really comes together, and you can see you can play with some of these angles to try to get things to sit down and really tight and firm, and that's going to be awesome right there. So right away you can see these angles establish the firearm almost straight across the case, so those work very well. On the ends, these kind of square things off, so you'll see right on the end there, that's going to essentially hold that in place. And then maybe at this point, I do finagle this around just a little bit, but we'll play with it, see how things kind of work out. That really does seem like it wants to sit there kind of nicely. No true need for the V-blocks with the shotgun. I don't think that's going to gain me much. However, if I kind of want to hold that muzzle end in place, I can certainly do that. Now, that's going to be a bit of a tight fit. However, even though that's a tight fit, it's actually an awesome fit at the same time, and as long as I can still effectively close this, which no problem, that's actually going to work out awesome. So the V-block there, even though this has that large muzzle brake, that's going to work out awesome. And that means all of this is sitting in nicely. So pretty much at this point, I just need to put a little bit of blocking in a couple of additional strategic locations. That's probably best right about there, so creating that little pinch point. And then my instinct tells me a nice triple right along there. And so at this point, this should come in and out. That's going to be a little tight, but again, I could carve that out and really make this a custom fit, and I will probably do that. So I bet you I modify that just a touch, but that's fantastic. Now, imagine the day when I say, well, now all of a sudden I add my optic, to the top of this and put a red dot. Well, I'd be completely stuck with another case solution. But if I did that and I just need to buy myself a little bit of room, well, lo and behold, clearly I can just shift everything down by one, move this down, which gives me that same net result, but at this point, I've moved it down in the case, and I would never, ever have been able to do that with the pick and pluck foam. I mean, that's just not something that can happen. Now, I can see already by the nature of this, whenever possible, I'm going to want to take some of these larger blocks and span the joints. That's going to help hold everything together. So if I could pick one location or another, maybe I'm creating little pinch points, but at the same time, I'm able to kind of pinch this together, which gives it additional rigidity in the case. So all in all, this Daka setup is going to be awesome. I also have, of course, at this point, some extra pieces. So that, you know, now that I have some storage in the end of this thing, that could work out just fine. So storing my extra pieces in there. So just shoving those in the end, that's making up some of the additional space. So the fact that, you know, I kind of got a mismatched kit, I knew it going into this. I figured I'd be able to make it work. It absolutely works just fine. And this setup is going to be awesome. So the Daka grid, fantastic. And so, all right, guys, there you have it. A look at the Magpul Daka grid. I mean, at this point, we are so beyond pick and pluck foam. It isn't even funny. And, you know, I've taken all my extra little pieces, lined this out. Now, that will have its own challenges. It reduces the amount of grab points I have to get to my firearms quickly, but it gave me a place to store all the extra pieces, make sure everything's nice and locked in. And you can see, even literally holding this up for the camera, everything is sitting just awesome and into place. This is so cool. I've managed to get myself some ammo. I have some spare, at this point, honestly, practice ammo for my handguns, but that could easily be swapped out with self-defense ammo, so I have extra where I need it. This setup is fantastic. I actually prefer the fact that this setup really was not intended for this length of case. I'm pumped that I was able to easily modify this, get it to fit in here. So awesome, and have that extra storage space. To me, that's almost critical. So, you know, that does kind of lend itself to a concept. You know, Magpul does have other Daka products. I would encourage them to add Daka foam organizer spaces for ammo and, you know, other things like that. I think it could work out very well. So I'm sure this system will expand over time as they learn more and more. But for me, I am absolutely thrilled with this. This is going to go in a safe spot. It's going to give me my home protection the way I need it. And what an awesome looking case. Not only is my stuff protected, but it looks good doing it. And so if you like what you see here today, look in the description box below where you can get all of the details for where you can find awesome Magpul products. Whether it's this Daka grid or other Magpul products, they do a fantastic job. So if you would like to support the channel, get yourself some awesome gear, do me a favor and take a look at the description box below for links. And if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless channel, which is more on my primary gear. On that channel, I cover everything from hiking, camping, and backpacking excursions, all the gear that goes with it. So from sleep systems, shelter systems, knives, axes, backpacks, you name it, that's my Outer Limitless YouTube channel. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.